School District Board of Trustees is hereby called to order. The time is 6:03. Let the minutes show that all board members are in attendance with the exception of Mr. Alters. This meeting has been called in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. All items discussed or voted on this evening have been posted as required by state law. I want to extend a warm welcome to everyone here tonight, and we are pleased that you have taken the time to join us. This is a meeting in the public, not of the public. As our guests, we welcome you to observe and listen. We're pleased that you've taken the time to join us this evening, and we thank you for your interest in New Caney ISD. We now ask that you silence your cell phones at this time. Please rise for the invocation to be given by Mrs. Sharp and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and honor the Texas flag to be led by Ms. Tompkins.
Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the opportunity to come here and spend this hour or so working for the betterment of our kids' future. And Lord, I thank you for this group of people here and the dedication and commitment they make to the children of NCISD. Lord, I just thank you for this time. I ask you to bless our time and be present in all that we do. Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Item 2 on the agenda is open forum. Item 3 on the agenda is the superintendent's report presented by Mr. Calvert.
Yes, ma'am. Got a couple of folks going to give us some updates tonight. First, I'd like to recognize Ms. Waldrop, and she is going to give you guys a special ed report.
Was it clear? Okay, good evening. My name is Lori Waldrop. I am the Director of Special Education, and I'm here this evening to give you all an update, a state of the state, so to speak, for special education. So I wanted just to, as I always do, present you with our org chart for our leadership support for our campuses and across the district. This year, we are thankful that we received some funds to be able to do a little bit of reorganization to increase the level of support with 2 assistant directors and a coordinator to be added to the org chart and be able to support our campuses. Let's see. Our mission statement is that the New Caney ISD Department of Special Education, we are dedicated to innovation, individualization, and inclusive practices to promote student independence. Obviously, we want our students to be as independent as they possibly can when they leave the walls of New Caney ISD. There we go. One of the things that I want to spotlight tonight is our special education growth. Over the last 5 years, across the state of Texas, we have seen an increase in the number of students who have qualified in special education with an IEP. I did want to do a comparison from district enrollment and special education enrollment, and you can see that the total district enrollment has grown by 14.9% over the last 5 years, and our special education population has grown 106.9%, which is pretty incredible. That puts us currently at a 17.8% special education population in the district. And that does hover right around with the average in the area. We have some districts nearby who are closer to that 15%. We have some that are smaller than us that are closer to that 20% special education population. Am I saying the right thing? Okay, yes. So this is our continuum of special education supports, and as we've discussed in the past, the supports get more and more intense as we get to the smallest population that we're serving. So our students with the most significant needs in the district are definitely a smaller portion of that 17% of our special education population. When we're talking about the continuum of supports, last year we were so thankful that we were able to provide all special education supports for all students at their home campus. So we were able to serve our 3- and 4-year-olds in that early child special education setting at every campus. We also had Aspire, which is our K through 12 alternate curriculum. So students who are not on the general education curriculum, and they're not on a modified just a few years below, but they are typically between 5 and 7 years below grade level. That would be our alternate curriculum. So students at the elementary all the way to secondary are served through the Aspire program for that. We also shifted to a continuum model for our behavior services. So this is behavior services for support or for success. And this model has been incredibly effective in serving our campuses. We have staff that are at each campus. We've had 2 teachers and 2 paraprofessionals that support our students who need that continuum of support to address their deficits in the area of behavior. They also do support our students who might be in this next location, that specialized support setting, which is a student who is accessing that general education curriculum, maybe with modifications and accommodations, and they may have some minimal behavior needs. But in the event there are some students who require that in the general education environment, those teachers through that behavior, the BSS program, are able to support them as well at that campus. So they're the first line of defense, which has really been an incredible asset to our campuses. As you can imagine, those of us that were on our org chart, we are not always 5 minutes down the road. We might be at another campus in another situation or another crisis situation, and our travel time might not be as immediate as being able to have those people as those first line of support on the campus. So it's been really incredible to see that program. We've been working actually very closely with student services as well as we've been supporting the campuses. And then we continue to have our ACE program, our Adult Continuing Education, which is our 18 to 21-year-old students. They have completed all of their high school credits, but they still require some transition goals for their post-secondary needs. So if they're looking to be gainfully employed, are we looking to work on their life skills, independence in that area? We actually had a great little luncheon that many of you were able to attend. Gosh, that was in May, the end of May.
Cinco de Mayo.
It was a Cinco de Mayo, yes, Cinco de Mayo theme. That was their second restaurant that they hosted this year. The first one was their Italian restaurant. So we are going to continue that work as well so that they continue to learn the skills that they need to be successful in the community. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that y'all came. They were stressed out that day, knowing that they had some very important people amongst them, but they were so thrilled to have you guys there. What I did want to also talk to you guys about is instructional arrangement. And you may have heard this term used most recently related to a new funding model that I'm going to talk to you about for special education. Our current way of generating funds for students receiving special education services is through an instructional arrangement model. So our students who receive speech therapy services only are coded as a 0-0. Our students who are mainstream, they're receiving all of their supports in the general education classroom with maybe some in-class support accommodations. They are coded a 40. And then once you start removing a child out of their general education setting, the instructional arrangement code gets higher on that scale of 40 to a 45. So self-contained ranges from 43, 44. And then we do have some other settings. Homebound, we have some students at a non-public day school. I think we will have 3 next year because we have 1 student who has graduated. But I think it was interesting to note just how the trend is seen over 5 years. One of the things that was the most notable for me was that our number of students that we served in that 40, that mainstream setting in 2021, was over 50%. But if you look now at the 2025 data, that has shrunk to 35%. What happened in 2023 was the dyslexia handbook became a part of our world in education, moving all of the students receiving dyslexia services underneath that special education framework. And in 2023, they moved our students who were eligible as a student with dyslexia from a 40 instructional setting in mainstream to a 41. So you're going to see a big drop of students that moved from that 40 to 41 in that year. So that would attribute to some of that as well. So you'll see that correlates with the increase of the 41 and 42. It went from 16% and now it's at 37%. These things are important to note because, as I mentioned, TEA has issued a new funding model, which is going to require a lot of work on the front end right now. So we are currently in the evaluation stage of how are we going to ensure that our staff that are going to be responsible for implementing this new model when they return this year, that they have the training that they need, that they understand the model. We are also anticipating that our special education software will have a program embedded in it that will take the information that we put into the system for our students with disabilities. I'm assuming it's got some AI to it that will then generate all of that information and then put it into this new service tiers is what they are moving towards. So the intent behind it is to generate more funds for our more intense students than it is for our students who require less supports. So our students, it's a model of 1 to 9 in terms of the service tiers. Our speech-only students who just get speech therapy, they will be a 1. Our out-of-district placement students, those are that we are sending to a school that can meet their needs, they're going to be a service tier of an 8. So that'll just kind of give you just what that looks like. However, this year is a data gathering year, so TEA is taking all of our data that all districts are putting into the system, and they're analyzing it. So we will be reporting both the instructional setting, the instructional arrangement code this year, plus the service tiers, and then TEA will assign dollar amounts, I'm hopeful, sooner than next summer, so we know what that funding model is going to look like and how much money we're actually going to be generating for our students. And if there will be a difference, we can get more, we can get less, it just depends. So, it's a guessing game some days with TEA. So we're here to gather the data, and I can tell you that our team is diligently working on how can we make certain that we are maximizing the content and the data that goes into the system so that we are compensated appropriately to meet the needs of our kids. I did put a link there for you guys. I'm not going to go through the 28-page document that defines the service tiers, but if you're interested or you need any help understanding it, I'm happy to meet with you guys individually. I wanted to also go into our STAR data. So with this STAR data is our 2025 STAR data because we are just now getting all of the reports in from our 2026 STAR data. This is something that I know Mr. Calvert has shared in his superintendent evaluation along with some of you on the board as well. But when we look at last year's data, what our special education department is graded on, we get what's called the RDA, Results Driven Accountability Report, that comes in October. And then you can see in that very first column, we have all of the different STAR tests and EOCs. And then in the 25 RDA SPED column, you will see a percentage of passing in the parentheses that then drives a rating from a 0 to a 4. Anytime we are in a 3 or a 4, we are under a corrective action with TEA, and we meet with them monthly to discuss what are we doing to ensure that we are meeting the needs of our students. What are we doing to tweak that? When we did pull out the data for the general education students compared to our special education students, and you will see that that STAR data is listed there. What I will tell you that I wanted us to really kind of pay attention to was the SPED percent of growth. So from 24 SPED STAR scores to 25 SPED STAR scores, in all of those areas that are green, the special education students' performance trended higher than our general education population. So the only areas that we trended less than would be our 3 through 8 social studies and our biology. We often follow the trend. If Gen Ed is moving in the upward direction, we are also moving in the upward direction. And then the same if Gen Ed is also moving in the downward direction. So as you know, our students are general education students first, and the more time they spend in that general education environment, they are getting more access to those teachers and the curriculum by experts in that content area, and that's ultimately our goal. There we go. I now want to go into the other side of the work that we do in special education, which is our child find obligation. So across the last 5 years, you can see an increase in the number of evaluations that we have completed in the special education department based on suspected students who have a suspected disability. That is that gray line. That's the initial evaluations that come to us from a referral committee. That is either a parent request for an evaluation, or that is an MTSS Tier 3 request or refer for special education. The red column is the number of reevaluations. We are required by law to complete a reevaluation for all students every 3 years. So that number is roughly a third of what our total special education student population is every year. And if you will look that this year we have completed, I just was able to pull this, it might be off a number or two, I was pulling it, we're turning it into PEAMS the end of this month, but we have completed 961 current initial evaluations this school year. And if we look back in 2021, that's compared to that 495. We can attribute that to several things. I think AI is a lot that is attributing to it. I know that the access that our families and people have to AI as a tool to say, what do I need to do to request? I think that's an easier access. I also know that our dyslexia, that was also an increase as well. But we're going to keep on keeping on with it. I'm going to take apart all of the things. Oh, no. I think I have to go back one. I apologize. Nope. So if you look at over the years, this is what TEA rates us on in the evaluation side. So we had the RDA, which was our instructional performance. This is how are we doing as a district identifying students with a potential disability and then evaluating them within the timelines that TEA has established. So if we look at the little body, the box at the top, we weren't doing so hot in 22-23. We only had a 78% compliance on completing an initial evaluation by the deadline. That 11B is the initial ARD by the deadline. So we have a 45-day timeline to complete an initial evaluation. We have a 30-day timeline to complete that ARD. And then we have, I'm going to spend more time on 13, which is our transition. How are we doing preparing our kids to leave the walls of New Caney ISD? So that box up there is not pretty. It's quite ugly, but I would love to celebrate where we have come. So our 24-25 success was that we were 96% compliant in those initial ARDs. We were 95% compliant, initial evaluations, 95% compliant in holding those initial ARDs to get services and our students into services. And then we were 100% compliant in Indicator 13, which was incredible, going from that 18% to that. So we are very proud of our team.
What was Indicator 13?
Indicator 13 is transition. So it is a transition supplement that is required in every IEP for our students starting at the age of 14, and really talking with families, talking with students on what do they want to be doing post-high school, and then are we tailoring their education, their grad plan, those kind of things to meet their needs. So that's some significant work that our team has done to ensure that that's compliant. So we're very proud of them. I did pull preliminaries. I do believe our initial, that Indicator 11, A and B, will be closer to 97, 98 this year. So again, still in the upward trend. We still have some room for improvement because TEA only wants 100% compliance in all of these areas. There's no room for wiggle. So,
And what was 12?
12 is our transition from early childhood, so our birth to 3 children. If we are notified in the right amount of time from the ECI, the early childhood intervention programs, we have to get the children evaluated and an initial ARD by their 3rd birthday. So happy birthday. They get to come into class on their 3rd birthday,
Right.
get services, and we can celebrate them then. So that is the smallest of our population. We might have a handful or more each year, and honestly, that 100% that we had 2 years ago or 3 years ago really was, it could very well have been that we had 1 or 2, and then the others, like 94% could very well have been that we only missed 2 out of the however many came to us. So, and then there we go, hop on one foot, okay. So this year, 25-26 data, those referrals that I talked to you about, we have processed 1,401 referrals this calendar, or this school calendar year. That would be from July 1 to June 30th. Of those 1,401 referrals, we have issued what is called a prior written notice to 57 of them. We have a review committee that reviews all the data that has been gathered by the campus, by the MTSS team, and we look at it to see, Is there substantial data that shows that, yes, we would have a suspicion that this child might have a disability? If we do not suspect, we do not have to test that child. So we provide what's called a prior written notice to the families. So we did provide a prior written notice to 57 of them. 52 of the students within that 1401 did withdraw. That doesn't mean that we didn't do work on them. We could very well have gotten all the way to a completed evaluation, but just know that those have withdrawn from our district.
Oh.
Our total number of evaluations out of that 1,401 that we have completed to date is 961. Of that 961, 156 of them did not qualify, which is 16% of that 961. 807 of them qualified. One of the things that we look at when we're looking at this data is the quality of the referrals that are coming through. Our do not qualify, or D&Q rate, should usually hover around 5%. Right now, we're looking at 16%, so we're going to be working very closely with Ms. Sifford and her team and the MTSS team to see where is the disconnect. We don't want to be doing work just to do work. We want to make certain that our evaluations do identify those that ultimately need it and be able to pour more time into those quality evals. And then we currently, outside of the ones that we have completed, the reporting period for the completed ends on June 30th, so we are really at that point of we will not be completing anymore. Our evaluations that we have currently with an open consent from mom and dad is 352. So we may have obtained consent at the end of the school year. That deadline for completing that evaluation is not due until next year. So those will roll over to the reporting period for TEA July 1 to June 30th of next year. So 352, and we're currently doing assessment camp as we speak. We are bringing kids up to get the evaluations completed, primarily those students that we identified at pre-K and kindergarten roundup, who it is very obvious that we genuinely need to get those children evaluated and get supports in place before the first day of school, and that is our goal with that. So very thankful, Ms. Gillette, Mr. Calvert, for affording us the money this summer to be able to do that, because we know it is money well spent for sure. There it is. One of the things that we are also incredibly proud of, and we can attribute to that BSS model that we were implementing, in 23-24 school year, we had 176 behavior support requests. That is when a teacher and administrator reaches out to our district level support, our behavior specialist and our behavior coordinator, to ask for additional support beyond what they can do at the campus. This school year, we had 21 requests, which really does speak to the fact that we have empowered campuses, we have equipped them with the right staff, the appropriate training to meet the needs of that campus far quicker than those of us at the district level could do. So that's an incredible shout out to the campuses and their ability to support the students. Oops. I do want to give a legal update, and my new best friend this year has been Mr. Nichols, who I know is behind us. We have received 6 TEA complaints, and we have received 10 due process complaints. I'm going to talk a little bit about the TEA complaint process first, and it should be noted down at the bottom with, it does say that TEA does not require local complaint resolution before a parent files. If they're in disagreement with anything that is going on in the world of special education, they can get online, fill out a form that is to file a TEA complaint or even a due process. Some of our due process complaints that were filed this year, I believe the parent could have found a little more support through the the TEA complaint process as opposed to the due process. However, we were able to resolve those. So in that TEA complaint, we did have one of them that was addressing MDR, which is Manifestation Determination Review. That is when discipline has been issued to a student with a disability. The ARD committee is responsible for going back to ARD to determine, is the discipline, the action that took place, was that offense a direct and substantial relationship to the student's disability? And then we have an entire process that we go through. One of the complaints was disagreement with that MDR. The parent did not agree. And then we had 5 FAPE, Free Appropriate Public Education. That is ultimately, did we implement the student's IEP or not? So of those 6, we did prevail with 3 of them. And then 3 of them did warrant a corrective action. So 1 of them was an MDR related and 2 of them were FAPE related in that corrective action. So we are currently under a corrective action with those, and we will be beginning that. We just got those towards the end of the year, so it will, all of the work that we need to do to provide documentation to TEA will begin in the fall. It's training of staff, it is going back to ARD, it is talking about compensatory services and those kind of things. The due process complaints, we have had 5 that have been related to that same thing, discipline, MDR, and 5 that have been directly related to the implementation of the IEP. We were able to resolve 8 of those before we even went to mediation. 1 of them did go to mediation and we were able to mediate, actually 2 went to mediation, 1 of them we were able to mediate, and then 1 of them did go to trial, and we just held that trial the second to last week of school. We will not get the decision on that until August of 2026. So they will let us know what our next steps are after that.
Can you tell me the difference between a TEA complaint and a due process complaint?
Yes, TEA complaint, we locally will manage that. We will address it, we gather the data, we put it together. We do utilize the attorneys to help us with the legal filing of it all. And the due process complaint is actually a trial. There are attorneys involved. 90% of the time, some families do file and represent themselves. We did have 1 that was self-represented. But it definitely is. I will tell you the amount of time, energy, and effort that goes into a due process complaint is far more significant than it is a TEA complaint. TEA complaint is also a quick turnaround. You usually have about 10 days to gather all the information, turn it into TEA. They have, I believe, 45, and Mr. Nichols can correct me, 45 days then to come up with their decision whether or not we prevailed or not. And usually it's a corrective action only. It is something that we have to do to correct it, train, document that we've done this right thing, so we'll make right with it next time. Due process complaints can have a financial impact for sure on the end, depending on how the mediation goes or how the trial ends. So there can very well be a financial impact.
And like you said, both of those can be done without going through their local grievance policy that's in place.
Correct. And I can tell you when they came, because they come to me and Mr. Calvert typically on a Friday afternoon around 4:15, and I text him and go, we'll deal with this on Monday. I've already let our attorneys know. I have known of the situations on 2 of them out of all 16. So this is something that had been at the campus level. They had a disagreement, didn't come through the principal and or district level staff too. They just know that they can file, and there they go. And then I want to just give you a real brief update on what next year looks like. First off, we are so incredibly thankful for the staffing allocations that the special education department received for next year. Our campuses can breathe a little easier, and then our district level support, we really feel we're going to be incredibly effective, far more effective. I can say that we have been effective over the years, but we will feel far more effective as well in being able to support the campuses. So the first thing was 19 campus sped facilitators. Those will be housed at every one of our campuses, and that is going to be someone that is going to be working very closely with the teachers, with the administration, with our department on all of those compliance components, specifically that implementation of the IEP. We want to make certain that we have someone overseeing it, make certain the minutes are correct from each ARD, who needs to be supporting them, what does the schedule look like, and those kind of things. They'll also be really focusing specifically at the elementary level on the Bluebonnet curriculum, ensuring that our special education staff understand both the reading and math components and what it means to implement that through our special education supports as well. We also were allocated 15 assessment positions, so that's either speech path, school psych, diagnostician, ARD facilitators, some secretarial support, and we also were given 19 teaching and 20 para positions. So that is an incredible addition, and we genuinely could not thank you guys enough. I know we have a big shout out as well to Ms. Chalette. I did talk a little bit about the corrective actions. We are under those, and those are things that we will be starting next year. And the other big thing that's coming our way is the TEA cyclical review, which will be in April of 2027. Every 6 years, this is a new system that was implemented my very first year. I came in May of 2020, and then February of 21, they said, tell us everything you're doing in the district. And I said, I don't know. And so we were able to really kind of, I would say, bumble our way through because there weren't a lot of processes and procedures in place upon my arrival and our team's arrival. But I can tell you over the last 6 years, our team has done significant work in establishing procedures, protocols, and ensuring that we are compliant. But I can tell you right now, those SPED facilitators are going to be really, really important in ensuring that our campuses continue that, support that, and analyze the data at the campus so that when that cyclical review comes up and they ask us for data, they randomly choose students. We have to turn them into them within a very quick time frame so that they can analyze all of their special education folders to make certain that we're doing right by all of the TEA and IDEA guidelines. So we'll have a report this time next year on how did we prevail in that. My hope is that we're going to come through with flying colors, but also it is a time in which we can look and see are there areas that we need to continue to grow in. So ultimately, that is all I have for you guys. Do you have any questions?
It's a lot of information.
It is a lot, I know it is.
Thank you.
And TEA was supposed to give us a little more guidance on what we were required to share with you all, but we have a team of directors in the area that we all get together and go, what are you doing? Is this what y'all are doing as well? So we all are sharing pretty much the same information across the board in Region 6. So any questions at all?
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, next up, Mr. Batchelder wants to come up and, or he has to come up and share a security audit finding with us from this past spring on one of our campuses.
Good evening, everyone. The top priority of new Caney ISD in the state of Texas is keeping students and staff safe every day. The Texas School Safety Center recently conducted an intruder detection audit at one or more of our campuses, and corrective actions have taken place. The audit tests whether the campus is accessible to an unauthorized individual. This audit, conducted as a part of Governor Abbott's school safety directive for all school systems following the tragedy of Uvalde, seeks to help districts identify how campuses can improve safety for students, such as ensuring exterior doors are locked. The audit provides us with an opportunity to create a safer learning environment for our students and staff. We are working closely with the district's Safe and Secure Committee to ensure that we are training our staff and securing our doors for the protection of everyone in our campuses. The support from the state in conducting the intruder detection audits is just one of the many actions that we are taking to ensure our schools are safe. We know that this work does not end, and we appreciate the board's support. We acknowledge that parents and community members are likely very interested in the details of the audit results. However, it is in the best interest of the students that we do not share information to the broader public, as it could lead to compromising important campus security information. Specific details of the intruder detection audit will be discussed in the executive session with the Safety and Security session and with the Safety and Security Committee. New Caney ISD is committed to providing a safe and secure learning environment for our students and staff. Thank you.
Sure.
Item 4 on the agenda is reports and proposals of board members. I just wanted to say that school board members, all 7 of us, plus Mr. Calvert, attended the Summer Leadership Institute in San Antonio this past week. We had a lot of breakout sessions, heard some really great speakers, got some on-the-ground knowledge from other districts and from, oh, there's our picture. We got some information from other districts, from professionals in the field that we can bring back and put into play here, some things that work well in surrounding districts, some things that don't work well. And we had a really great time. We were all together, and we all made it back safely, and we enjoyed it. Are you going to talk about the other during the end of the meeting?
No, I can do that right now.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about, we had our training, and so we have our little sessions and things, and those are budgeted every year from a certain allotment. But I wondered if other parts of our district are having leadership camps or attending sessions somewhere.
Yes, ma'am. I think a lot of people think, oh, the kids are gone, so we've got our feet propped up and we're just waiting on August to roll around.
Yeah,
but
no.
Just like the board and all of our kids, we've got a group of lifelong learners in the district, and we're learning new things, trying to get better at what we do every day so we can give our kids the best. So while this isn't an extensive list of everything that we're doing, it captures the majority of it. And, we've got a lot of great people going to things in the state, across the country, just, getting smarter and getting better at their craft so that way we can come back and support our kids better. And like Ms. Harrell said, all of these are included in this year's budget to no additional expense. They're already planned for. And so bear with me here. I'm going to read off a few of them here. We've got 15 people at TASBO, Texas Association of School Business Officials, down in Galveston, actually this week. We've got Ms. Gillette taking her directors to Livingston for a one-day conference on leadership. We had Coach Plunk and Coach Farmer go to our Texas High School Athletic Directors Association in Round Rock at Kalahari. Our Texas Association of Secondary School Principals, they went to Dallas and stayed at the Anatole. There's about 12 of them. TEPSA was at Kalahari and Round Rock, which I was an elementary principal again to get to go there. We had staff from White Oak, Brookwood, Valley Ranch, Highlands, Sorters Mill, Dogwood, Kings Manor, Tavola, and Oakley there, so approximately 21 attendees. We have actually one of our digital learning people presenting at a national Canvas conference called InstructureCon in Louisville, Kentucky. I believe she's right over there tonight. Got a couple people attending. We've got our counselors going to a National School Counselor Association conference in New Orleans. We've got Ms. Moran and approximately 20 other campus and district staff going to Texas Bandmasters, Texas Chorale Directors, and Texas Orchestra Directors in San Antonio. We've got some folks going to Lake Tahoe in Denver, Colorado, learning more about our International Baccalaureate program and getting things ready for Highlands Middle School, as well as continuing down that path at Highlands Elementary. We have Dr. Condarco and a lot of our secondary staff going to Lake Charles, staying at the Nugget over there, 35 attendees. We have 2 attendees going to the Career and Technical Association Conference in Fort Worth at the Omni. We have even our transportation department gets in on the summer trainings. They have the Texas Association of Pupil Transportation over in the Woodlands. They'll be heading over there in a couple of weeks. A couple of our AV staff from the technology department are going to InfoComm conference, and that is in Vegas. We've got Texas Education Technology Leaders Conference in Irving. Got 3 people going to that. Y'all know we are a big PLC district, so we've got 61 attendees from Brookwood, Kings Manor, New Caney, Oakley, Ben's Branch, Valley Ranch, and Tavola going to sessions in Houston. And then we've got 56 attendees going to San Antonio from our district-wide elementary education department, Crippen, Dogwood, Oakley, Porter, Sorters, and Valley Ranch. A really cool thing, they always bring back great stuff. We've got a group going to the Ron Clark Academy in Atlanta, Georgia. That's our district elementary department, Crippen, Kings Manor, Sorters Mill, Tavola, and New Caney. We've got an elementary technology conference coming up in Galveston with 23 people going to that. Brookwood, Sorters, Ben's Branch, Valley Ranch, KME, Crippen, and Porter. Our elementary folks are at a conference right now at the Doubletree in Galveston. We've got 22 attendees there. That's why this room's a little more empty than usual tonight. We've got a parenting partners conference that Kings Manor and Tavola is going to in San Diego. We've got 6 people going there. I thought I saw Ms. Gronick come in. She's going to be attending our Texas School Nurse Administrators Association conference in San Antonio. Mr. Powell's going to the Texas School Safety Conference in San Antonio. And then Ms. Waldrop, from you just heard about, they're going to TCASE, Texas Council of Administrators in Special Education. That is in Austin, and she's got 7 people going. So while we encourage people to take a break and recharge their batteries for August, this group is very dedicated to, broadening their horizons, learning a lot of new stuff, bringing it back for our kiddos so they can better support our kids, our staff, and everything. So had a great time with the board, and y'all doing some continuing education, but just know in between those trips and naps and doing whatever, our folks are out learning and improving their craft for next school year. So
Just 1 second. All of these items are budgeted. This isn't
yes,
a
ma'am.
surprise.
It's not an additional expense.
So they don't come to us and say, hey, could we have extra money?
No,
This
ma'am.
is already budgeted through campuses and departments and things
Yes,
like
ma'am.
that. Okay.
Part
Great.
of their professional development, but yes, ma'am.
Great. Wonderful. Yes, ma'am.
And I just wanted to add, as part of my real job, I have to travel. I cover conferences mostly weekly, and it's a sacrifice to go to these conferences. So our employees are sacrificing their time to go to these conferences, and it's my job to report on these conferences. So I just want to say thank you. This is how
our employees learn, and this is how they grow, and this is how they come back, and they're inspired. And so I'm very thankful that our district allows this, and I'm very thankful that our employees want to go and be inspired and grow. So I just want to say that it is a sacrifice to give up their time and their summer. So I wanted to add that little nugget of information.
That's a great point.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anybody else have anything to add? Okay, item 5 on the agenda is consideration of an out-of-state trip for Congressional Art Winter presented by Brian Moran. Hello.
Hi, good evening. I'm requesting an out-of-state travel for one of our students, Colin Butsky and Miss LaShawna Roden. Each spring, members of the U.S. House of Representatives sponsor a nationwide high school art competition. The winning artwork is displayed for 1 year in the Cannon Tunnel at the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C., and will be seen by thousands of visitors touring our nation's capital. This year is exceptionally busy with the 250th celebration of our country. Our students continue to excel in this prestigious program. Porter High School has earned national recognition by winning 10, now 11 out of the last 12 years that we have participated. This year, Porter High School student Colin Butsky's artwork was selected by Congressman Dan Crenshaw. The winning piece was framed in the weeks thereafter. Colin's artwork will be displayed in the Cannon Tunnel for 1 year, which will be viewed daily by several thousand visitors each week per the Capitol's tour information. This honor not only represents Congressional District 2, but also highlights the talent and excellence of Porter High School and New Caney ISD's visual arts program. So we are requesting permission to travel, and Congressional District 2 pays for the airfare for the student and one parent. We'd be covering the airfare for the sponsor, in addition to the hotel, the food and lodging in DC for the student and the sponsor, and the traveling around Washington, DC.
Great. Does anybody have any questions or any further discussion for the trip?
No. The picture's incredible.
Do we have a picture of the artwork?
I can get some.
No.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Okay,
I've
sorry
seen it.
about
It's
that.
incredible.
We'll get one.
Yeah, it was emailed.
I did see it. It was
Yeah,
in
it
an
was
email,
emailed to us.
but I'll send it
Okay.
to you.
All right,
Yeah,
thanks.
it's incredible.
Is there a motion to approve the out-of-state trip?
So moved.
Did you have a question?
No, he has a picture.
Oh, he has a picture of it? Okay.
It's absolutely
And now it's
incredible.
black. We can look at it in close.
Yeah,
Is there a motion to approve
So
the
moved.
out-of-state trip for Congressional Art Winter?
so moved.
All right, the motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. The motion is approved.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Item 6 on the agenda is the consent calendar consisting of consideration of minutes, finance reports, purchasing reports, and administrative service items. We will not take action on item 6C2 for RFP 149.26. We're going to move that item to a future meeting. But are there any other questions or further discussions regarding items on the consent calendar? Is there a motion to approve the items on the consent calendar with the exception of item 6C2? There's been a motion and a second. Are there any, there being no further discussion, a vote will now be taken. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. The motion is approved. Item 7 on the agenda is closed meeting. The board will now adjourn to closed session under Texas Open Meetings Act, sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.076 to deliberate the duties, evaluation, responsibilities, employment, and dismissal of personnel and officers, including the board and superintendent as it pertains to items listed on this notice or agenda. Will consult with the district's attorneys on subjects or matters listed on this notice or agenda, pending or contemplated litigation and proposed settlement agreements. And we will deliberate regarding the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, and deliberate regarding security devices or security audits. Should a final action, vote, or decision on any matter considered in closed session be required, such final action, vote, or decision shall be taken once the open meeting covered by this notice is reconvened or at a subsequent meeting of the board. The board has now adjourned to closed session at 6:47 PM. The board ended its closed meeting at 7:29 PM. And we will now reconvene in open session. Item 8 on the agenda is consideration of the personnel report presented by Ms. Gates. Hello.
Hello. Good evening. This is our monthly recommendation for new hires. Also includes our resignations or any transfer assignments for all of our professional and auxiliary personnel. And some of them I believe you got to meet this evening.
Thank you. Is there any questions for her? Discussion? Is there a motion to approve the personnel report? So moved. The motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor, say aye. 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 Any opposed, say no. Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Couple of quick introductions for y'all. We would like to welcome Ms. Daniela Blair as one of our new APs at White Oak Middle School. So welcome to the Warrior family, Ms. Blair. And then we'd also like to welcome Mr. Nick Draper. He is going to be our one of our new APs at New Caney High School. So welcome, Mr. Draper.
Thank you. Item 9 on the agenda is consideration of approval of New Caney ISD Legislative Affairs priorities presented by Dr. Powers.
Good evening, Board. We're asking you to approve the legislative priorities document that's in Board Book there. That is the work of the Legislative Affairs Board Subcommittee. That committee met 2 times this spring and produced those priority statements in the areas of school safety, teaching and learning, recruitment, retention, and fast growth. And of course, once the Board approves that, we'll make it public, and then we're going to share that with our legislators ahead of the session beginning next year.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions or any further discussion? Is there a motion to approve the New Caney ISD Legislative Affairs Priorities document?
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. So the motion is approved. Item 10 on the agenda is future discussion topics. Does any board member or superintendent have any future discussion topics that they would like to bring forward? No? I'm hoping to have some for July, so stay tuned. Yes. There being no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 7:31.